What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the difficulty of Returnal, what people are saying about it, and one in particular, technically, on its difficulty. Now, the game is obviously out in the wild in a way, right? Critics are playing this game. There's a lot of things that they're not supposed to be saying technically, but they kind of are, right? They're kind of floating it out there. The reviews go live this Thursday, so we're not going to see any review scores of this game until Thursday morning. But again, people have talked about the DualSense. People have talked about how fast like the loading is and how well it looks, and then difficulty. Difficulty has been a really big thing. So there's a YouTube channel. I think he also has his own website, right? Power PYX. Now, I actually like him. I used to be more of a trophy hunter than I am now. I think Brian from PlayStation Trophies does a really good job. I think both these guys do a really, really amazing job. But only one of them has spoken on the difficulty of Returnal. And so I'm going to read this. I believe this is on Reddit. And then there's a couple people on Twitter that responded to it, including a notable, I would say, Twitter personality, a notable PlayStation person, and a notable person who it seems like has the game as well that kind of disagrees. So before I get too far in, let me just say this. If you guys have not yet already, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on and hit the like button. Definitely helps YouTube spread the video out way, way, way more than it would. If you don't like me, if you don't like the video, that's totally cool. Leave a dislike. It helps engagement that way as well. And final thing is, if you guys are new here as well, I've been covering Returnal quite a bit over the last month or so. I'm going to be continuing to cover it this week. Game obviously comes out Friday. I don't have a code. I haven't played it early or anything, but I will be playing it Friday. I'll be doing videos. We'll be live streaming it. So there'll be a ton, and I do mean a ton, of Returnal content as the week goes on. All right, let's read this out. He said, I think people are expecting a totally different game than what this really is. They probably should have put up a demo for this because the majority of people spending 80 euros or the 70 US dollars on their pre-order won't even finish the second act. Demon Souls / Dark Souls is easy in comparison because you can overlevel and thereby reduce the difficulty, and you keep your progress between deaths. In Returnal, you lose everything on death or when you leave the game. You can't cheat it by backing up your save game either, because you get wiped out when you exit the game and you'll respawn at the start of the act. There are checkpoints between acts though, which helps. Housemarque / PlayStation Studios didn't do a great job at promoting the game for what it really is. In trailers and gameplay, it looked like a semi-story-driven arcade-style third-person shooter with maybe a bit of horror / survival elements, which is exactly what it seems like, when in fact it's a rogue genre. I wouldn't even say roguelike, because in roguelikes, example Hades, you have a hub area where you can upgrade some stuff between deaths, and you can retain some useful leveling that gives you an advantage on the next try. It's going to be at least an 8 out of 10 difficulty platinum, and quite an annoying grind for the gold trophies to complete the databases in each world. Because the game is randomized, it can take a while. Returnal is closer to Wolfenstein 2 main Leben difficulty. I've never played the hardest difficulty on Wolfenstein, but I have heard it's difficult. But with a randomized map each time. There are no difficulty options, so it'll be the same hardcore experience for everybody. So the 8 out of 10 thing, if you don't know what he does, is he kind of rates how difficult a game is to get platinum. Okay, so that's kind of what he's talking about there. So he does make it seem very difficult. Okay, now I read this, and I would say he's pretty darn credible. I mean, he's played a lot of games. I think he understands the fundamentals and he understands the mechanics of games very well. You kind of have to when you literally are a trophy guide as your job. I mean, that's what he does. He makes trophy guides. He does YouTube videos of how to do it as well. I mean, he has lots of trophies. He's got lots of platinums. In order to do that, you have to get good at a lot of, you have to understand the mechanics, and you have to really be good at a lot of different games. So it's not like I don't believe him. So when I read this, I did believe him. However, let me just say, as you go down here, there are people saying, there's a lot of people that are responding to it and saying that they don't really see the negative there, that they know Returnal is going to be a hard game, and that's kind of why they're into it. But there is one guy, Hunter at Next Gen Player. Again, this is a really good guy to follow, by the way, kind of for everything. And he said he totally disagrees with his assessment. It's a 6 out of 10 difficulty max. Again, I don't like ranking. I don't like giving number scores based off how hard a game is, but I guess that's how they want to do it. The platinum might be an 8 out of 10, though. Dark Souls is way harder. So you have a person that disagrees. And I think that's kind of all that is, right? Is that you either agree with it or you disagree with it. Let me say this from my own personal perspective. So again, I haven't played it yet. I think Resogun on the hardest difficulty. I think Nex Machina on the hardest difficulties are insanely difficult games. Insanely. Okay? I've never I know I said I platinumed Resogun. I platinumed on PS4 and the Vita. But I've never platinumed Nex Machina. But some of my favorite games of all time that are very hard, Sound Shapes, I platinumed that game. That game was harder than almost any other game. Now, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, or the Souls games in general, they're a different kind of hard, right? Hades, even, you could argue, right? They're different kinds of hard than a game like Sound Shapes or a game like Resogun. But I'll always talk about Velocity 2X. If you guys haven't played that, that's one of my favorite games ever. Just flat out. It's an amazing game. But that game is probably the hardest game I've ever played. And not hard in terms of like, I would say it's only hard if you want to get the platinum. Because if you want to get the platinum, you need to literally do everything perfectly in that game. You can't mess up, you can't die, you have to go through it at lightning speed, all that stuff. It's the platinum trophy I'm most proud of by a mile. In fact, I'm in the 1%. Only 1% has the trophy. Or no, not 1. I think it's 0.1. It was a very, very low amount of people that got the platinum for that game. So I'm very proud of that. So bottom line for me is that even if it is difficult, I don't really look at it as that's a major weakness. But again, even that seems subjective. You know what I mean? Maybe some, like, to me, again, like Demon Souls and Dark Souls, those are hard games that I've always said, and you guys can watch live streams that I've done on these games. I suck at them. I'm so bad at them. They're a difficult game in that genre that I just can never master. I can get better at it, right? I can make it through levels, I can beat bosses, but I'll never be like a god tier. I think games like Resogun, Nex Machina, they're also very difficult. You could argue the same, you could argue not as, you could argue more, but it's a different kind of difficult. And those games, coincidentally, are games that I can, I guess maybe I like them more, maybe I connect with them more, and I'm able to kind of increase how good I am at them. You know what I mean? I can get better. So, I don't see it as a weakness as much as he does. Again, I don't think that makes him wrong, or I don't think that makes him like bad or anything. It's completely his opinion. And again, he plays more games than I would say all of us. Again, and that's another thing with these trophy people, trophy hunters, is not only do they have to master games to get the platinum, but they also play so many games that they have a lot of knowledge. So I wouldn't doubt what he's saying about his comparisons with Hades and Demon Souls and Dark Souls. It's just, to me, not that big of a deal. I know the game's going to be hard. Now, I didn't expect it to be like the hardest game on planet Earth, so if that's kind of how he's describing it, or that's how he thinks of it, and then if I play it, and it's like, oh my dear God, like I can't, people have told me I keep forgetting and not forgetting. I didn't know that it didn't have a difficulty setting, so it doesn't have a difficulty setting. That's fine, and like he says, everybody's playing the same hard game. I mean, that is a thing with Resogun and Nex Machina, where it's like, you can play different difficulties. So like, while I may like them on the hardest difficulty, if you don't, you can play them on the lower ones. But this one guy, I want to read this and then I'll stop here. This one guy, Bandicoot, said, I personally think this difficulty is getting blown a bit out of proportion here, considering what I've heard in previews. So that's true. I haven't really looked at previews, but it doesn't seem like people are like crying about how difficult, like crying as in they literally can't do it, not because they're like weak or they're like gaming journalists and they hide in their closet. Not that. It's like it's not that it's like punishing them so much that they have to cry about it. Plus, I also don't think Housemarque will make a $70 game in which only 10 people in the world can beat. So yeah, that's probably important. You don't make a AAA game that's a story. It's like, I wouldn't say story driven. I think the gameplay drives this game more than anything, but it has story. It's the first time they've really done that. It's definitely more of a, it's like a higher, again, like AAA. It's a higher level thing. I don't think they do all that. Price it full price. This is one of the only games that's $70. Remember, we're still in that transition period. Not a lot of games are $70. So they're charging full price, and then it's going to be like the hardest game on planet Earth. Only like a very small percentage of people can beat it. I don't think you do that. So again, it may be very, very difficult. Maybe a small percentage does end up beating it, but I don't think it's like going to be like 5 people out of a million, right? Like you're a rare breed of human. Maybe you are. Maybe you are a rare human being if you can do it. But yeah, I agree too. Again, originally I think it's true. I thought it was true, but then reading what other people were saying about it, I don't know. I don't think maybe it's as difficult, I guess, as he makes it out to be. But again, he earns that right, and I'll let you guys know. I'll review it. I'll review it once I play it enough, but I'll let you guys know when I get destroyed in it enough times how difficult it is. So let me know, guys, in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think this game is going to be, super difficult? Did you see this kind of article or this Reddit post? Let me know what you think. As always, make sure, again, you guys are subscribed to this channel, bell icon turn on, hit that like button. Again, there's going to be more Returnal videos. I'll do a video when the review scores are out. We'll talk about, what people have said about the game. We'll do videos when the game is actually out. I'll do like in-game help videos. We'll do a review. We'll talk about all that kind of stuff, okay? Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.